I think that the real estate investment here is truly one to take advantage of before it's out of reach. About 80% of rental revenue happens in our peak winter season.
You're sharpening those knives.
Sharpen those knives. If you cannot cut a banana with your knife, you will save money if you book direct.
We are back. This is our second segment. My name is Jessica Stanford. I'm the Director of Marketing for the agency Steamboat. And I am here with my good friend, Kat Goodhand. She is with Retreatia. Kat, you want to introduce yourself?
Yep. I am Kat Goodhand, the Business Development Executive at Retreatia. We are a local nightly rental and property management company here in Steamboat.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm excited to kind of dig into what the nightly rental market in Steamboat looks like for you, because I think we have very different perspectives. You know, we're always dealing with the real estate side of things and sales, and so I'm just curious, to kind of pick your brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, thanks for hosting me. Yes. So here in Steamboat, we have about 2,000 licensed rentals here locally. Most are comprised of condos. Mm-hmm. Of course, we do have the single family homes, townhomes, and duplexes kind of to follow. I'm not really including hotels in this. It's kind of a different beast. Yeah. So these are homeowners that rent out their property nightly, to exclude the 30 plus or extended stay rental market.
You say 2,000. Is 2,000 a lot, or is that a little bit for, I guess, the size of Steamboat? Comparatively?
Breckenridge proper is about the same size. They are probably our most comparable market. So in size, in average rate, in demand. But then you take into account that outlying area that includes, Copper, Keystone. So they have much more in the scheme. And also the development that's happening, like the sprawl there is more robust than what we truly have here. Sure. Vail, Aspen, they are, of course, on different passes, but they are really different markets. Mm-hmm. They have higher average daily rates, attracting a little bit of a different clientele. But, Vail is somewhat similar, I think a little bit smaller in size as far as nightly rentals. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, we definitely have a unique market here kind of being tucked away. Investors
are starting to look at Steamboat. So from your perspective, why would you say that Steamboat is a good place to invest?
Yeah, Steamboat, again, we are such a unique, special place. Mm-hmm. We really do have this real sense of community, heritage, and I think that makes us really unique in the investment and how owners feel when there's an emotional attachment here. Sure. Yes. However, as far as the rental market is concerned, I know when people look at the price of real estate here, the rental revenues haven't quite kept the same pace. But as we look to some of these other markets, like Vail, like Aspen, Steamboat certainly has room for growth. Yeah. When we look to our average rate and the guests that are coming in here, the new developments that are here are certainly, more of that luxury caliber, which will drive up the rate and the demand. Also, our flight program here is very unique. We have 17 direct flights that are coming in for peak winter season. And that is one of the largest flight programs in mountain towns throughout the country. Mm-hmm. So that really, really makes us unique. And I believe that flight program will continue to expand.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm happy to not drive to Denver for
a
flight.
Sketchy.
Out of Hayden is, it's feeling like a luxury at this point.
Absolutely.
It's come such a long way from the couple direct flight paths that we had to now 17 major cities. I think that's a big deal for us to look at the evolution of Steamboat. Yeah. So.
And with the expansion of the airport, then I'm also, when we think about what Alterra has invested here in Steamboat, our terrain, our base area, I mean, it's just really changed and evolved. And I know that, as people are priced out of these more luxury markets, quote unquote, eyes come to Steamboat. And I think that the real estate investment here is truly one to take advantage of before it's out of reach.
Yeah. Well, I think you know, you kind of touched on it. The resort is doing so much expansion and revitalization, and can you touch on, you know, how that's affected the nightly rental market and what you're seeing at Retreatia?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we definitely are seeing, we continue to pace consistently up year after year. You know, summer is really a driving, an area of opportunity for us at Retreatia and for the town in general. And I think those updates at the base area have started pushing those summer months.
Yeah.
And then of course, just, you know, we see great occupancy, increased occupancy, whereas other towns may not be having the same drive or just have more inventory that is, you know,
Yeah.
dividing the money across multiple properties and
Sure.
property owners.
Yeah. Well, and when you speak about, you know, the different properties and everything, will you touch on, like, you know, the difference between a 1-bedroom and a 3-bedroom or 2 bedrooms? You know, what are some of the high performing properties, and what are some that some people may be surprised, you know, not knowing that a 2-bedroom has, you know, the most inventory, or from, you know, a purchasing a unit, that standpoint, are you seeing 1-bedrooms performing better, or 3-bedrooms, or just that general?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, 2-bedrooms are definitely the most, 2-bedroom condos, I should say, are the most populous property type here in town, in the rental market. So by far, when you purchase a 2-bedroom condo, you have the most competition against other properties. From there, 3-bedroom condos follow shortly behind, or not really shortly behind. 2-bedrooms definitely have a significant overage comparatively. So 3-bedrooms and 1-bedrooms are somewhat neck and neck, and then studios, and then 4-bedrooms and beyond. I will say in our portfolio, consistently the best performers are single-family homes, duplexes, townhomes. Most of those are 5+ bedrooms, and of course they can accommodate a lot of people in large group sizes, whereas there's just not that much inventory. So you do see, you know, those being the highest performers. When you're thinking, okay, outside of bedroom count, what else matters? You know, location. About 80% of rental revenue happens in our peak winter season, which is mid-December with the onset of the direct flights. And then everything kind of starts buttoning up at the end of March.
Okay.
So you really have a short period of time. So the closer you are to the ski area, are you ski in, ski out? Are you walkable to the gondola? You know, those are really, really important things to look at when you're considering investing in a property and what that rental revenue return is. I mean, of course, we do have a lot of ski in, ski out properties that, you know, maybe are a little bit older, or there's a lot of inventory. And again, inherently, you're going to have more competition within those developments versus, you know, something like, say, Delaney, which is right at the base area, not a ton of condos, kind of that upper mid market, but perform incredibly well just because they are right there at the base area.
And those amenities are
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're top.
you
I mean,
just
same with, you know, Torrey and Plum. Really anything that you can step out your door and get onto the slopes is going to be a slam dunk.
Can you give us a little plug on who Retreatia is and just kind of their market?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, speaking on that, who exists here in town for rental partners, you know, Retreatia is a mid-sized company here locally. We've operated for 20 years here. You know, with a mid-sized full-service company, you get a little bit of both worlds. So you get the attention from your owner liaisons, but we also have more robust resources like marketing and a revenue manager. You know, as a homeowner, if you're interviewing companies, which is really important, you know, definitely take a look at the landscape and see what your values are, what your goals are, what your priorities are as a property owner and a rental homeowner, and make sure that you do your due diligence and shake it out. You know, you can self-manage, which often can be really great returns, but it's a lot of work. And we have so many homeowners that are not here locally that sometimes that just doesn't make sense.
Yep.
You know, there's also the full service partner, which is Retreatia, and then some of the larger companies, and that's where you have in-house departments maintenance, housekeeping, guest services. So you're managing the owner relationship, the guest experience, the property care, kind of all in one bundle.
Yep.
And then you have some smaller companies too that might have a little more dedication to the nuances of your property and the uniqueness of your property, but might also be a little more shorthanded in that they don't have those internal departments. But I truly feel as a small community, everybody's putting their best foot forward. And at Retreatia, we have a really hardworking team, a long-standing hardworking team that's really been here to benefit their owners and rental guests.
Yeah, I think that's important. We always like to, know who's in our community and work together. Another big thing is, it's like elephant in the room, like Airbnb and Vrbo they're out there and everybody knows about them. How can you, suggest, like, when you are looking to rent a property as a guest, what's the best experience that you think? Because a lot of the time, Airbnb is the first thing that people go to.
Yeah, it's just become such a commonplace. When you think about short-term rental, oftentimes people just refer to them as Airbnbs. So they've kind of cornered the market. And of course, Vrbo is also very prevalent in the market. But I will say, you will save money if you book direct. Especially if you look at these resort towns or if you look at popular vacation destinations, I would bet that most of the properties have some sort of affiliation with a property manager. And in most instances, my guess is you're going to save money if you book direct.
Yep.
The fees for Airbnb, Vrbo, or any listing channel that are external, those are generally passed on to the guest. So find the property that you like, see who the manager is, and then redirect and book direct. Not only will there be more streamlined communication because you don't have this middleman, but again, you get to save some cash and go out to dinner instead. So,
that's a score.
Yeah. If you are considering investing in a rental property here, one of my biggest recommendations to you is as you get settled into that property, that initial push, that initial listing period is incredibly important. And as we talked about, people maybe being emotionally attached to a property, releasing your restrictions and your inhibitions for your property and allowing your property manager or yourself to really to launch aggressively is incredibly important. Just because, again, those key players, Airbnb and Vrbo, they want to make money. If they are not making money, your listing will get pushed down and down and down. And that's why that initial launch period is so important. If you can start and get bookings right away, you're going to get pushed up in those search results. And then if you can maintain that momentum, you'll continue to pace ahead. And I also want you to think not in the nightly rate for every booking, but look broadly. We're dealing in averages. So you're going to have some really, really high rates. You're going to have some lower rates, and then you're going to have your middle rates. And those all come together to create the success over the course of the year. And so when you're getting so wrapped up as a homeowner that's trying to make the greatest return on investment, really make sure that you're understanding of what the revenue strategy is of whomever you're managing with. Do they know what they're doing? Can they continue to get that visibility for your listings? If you've got a 2-bedroom condo, that's really important. And make sure that you're investing, staying up to date, staying in communication, or with your finger on the pulse. If you have a rental management company, make sure that you're communicating with the people that are on the ground. Is there something that is repeatedly coming up with my reviews? Again, reviews matter. People are seeing what the highlights of the property are, and then also what the drawbacks are. And make sure that you're just
you're sharpening those knives.
Sharpen those knives. If you cannot cut a banana with your knife, please sharpen your knives. You've got a problem.
Well, thank you, Kat. It's been very insightful to just kind of hear everything that you can share from your perspective. I hope that, everybody gets a little bit of takeaways from this. And of course, if you have any questions, Kat is an expert in the market. So please reach out, and thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for hosting me.
Yes.
What a lovely way to spend the morning.